I want to do a formal introduction to my friend, superstar, super comedian, super performer, producer, Sarah Jones.
Oh.
I met Sarah, actually, I met her, I think, in 2016 when she received a DVF Inspirational Award. And it was at the UN, I think. Yes.
Yes.
And you were so funny and it was so wonderful. And we loved you so much that I invited you another time to be a host.
Yes.
And anyway, so Sarah, should we start with you just doing me?
No pressure. No, so first of all, it's impossible to do you, but I did want to bring, I play all these characters from different backgrounds if people don't know me. So I don't want them to be shocked if I'm suddenly British. Do you know what I mean? I don't want them to think this is a new symptom of COVID or something like that, which is horrible. I shouldn't joke about it, but that's what I feel, that I'm using all of my people to help me get through at this moment.
That's right.
So, but I did have my French, I wanted to bring just someone who can say to you, Diane, avec tout ce qui se passe, with everything that is happening now, sometimes the best medicine is to remember our power with our beauty at the same time. And you always do that. Huh? So that is my French tribute to you. Now I'll stop. I'll be Sarah from, I speak the Queen's English because I'm from Queens, New York. And
anyway, so Sarah is an incredible person because she's such a great performer and she could be so many people in no time at all, and really just with a song. So in this time of coronavirus, Sarah, how do you use humor? Because in order to be a really great comedian, I believe you have to have depth, right? Because you act like it's funny, but what is really funny is because you bring the depth out. So tell me what it means to be a comedian like you, and how do you use your talent to convey and to share and to inspire?
I think it starts, let someone else have her opinion for a moment.
Hi there, Diane. How are you, sweetheart? It's me, Lorraine. Hi to all the DVF fans out there. I'm here because of Sarah. She's a very nice Black performer who you just met. And I got nervous just now, that I shouldn't say Black or, the times that we're living in. But I have to remember we're supposed to say Black. Black Lives Matter. It's very important. And Sarah brings us out to talk about what's happening in the world.
Okay, I also wanted to just take a second. Hi, Diane, it's me, Bella. I just want to say, I'm not apologizing for Lorraine, but it's real that we're in the middle of a pandemic. Also, I, as a woman with white privilege, Sarah Jones knows that I'm learning how to have conversations at a new level about equality, of course, women's equality, me being on a queer continuum. I don't want to just have Pride in June and then in July it's oh, sorry, bye, never mind. We need equality all year, all the time, all people.
Anyway, yes, so as you can tell, my friends, they comfort me. I almost feel like I'm lucky that even though I'm quarantined by myself or with myself, as I like to say, I'm not lonely because I literally have these other voices. I'm performing, since I can't do Broadway or theater or a comedy club, I'm performing in my living room, just like you, Diane, having these conversations. We get to kind of bring the world in a little bit more. So it's an ironic kind of.
And how can we watch you? I would like to know.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram Live every Wednesday. I'm doing these, it's like a Wednesday matinee, except
Oh, great. And
yes,
so it's we go on Instagram, Sarah Jones.
yes. So you go on Yes, I'm Sarah Jones, YESIM Sarah Jones, and you'll see that I have Yes, I'm Sarah Jones show. And it's every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time and 12 p.m. Pacific, like a matinee.
How wonderful. How wonderful. I will definitely look at it.
Yeah.
So, what have you learned from these 5 past months?
I mean, in a way, the more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know. And I feel like that's the kind of wisdom that I'm having now is, oh, I get to stop being surprised by being surprised. It's like there's always, new layers of who I am that I'm discovering.
Yes.
I can't go anywhere. So all of a sudden I have to be with me.
Right.
I'm meditating more. My yoga practice has shifted. I don't care as much because no one's looking at me. It's a very powerful internal friendship. I'm developing more of a friendship with myself. I'm less judgmental. It's really crazy. I wouldn't have guessed that would come out of this.
I know, it's definitely, but that's that's for the people like us who have a house and a garden, maybe. Yeah. I don't know if you have a garden, but I have a garden, and so I too. I mean, I have enjoyed this so much because I had so much time, and I love being by myself. But the problem is that all the people who have no home, yes, and all the inequality that is coming out more and more and more. And yes, it is about inclusiveness, but I think I prefer to call it's about bringing the humanity out of us, because we should look at what we have in common.
Yes.
And what we have in common is the humanity. So what can you do? What do you think you can help? I'm asking you because I'm asking myself, and I'm going to be asking everybody, what can we do? I know that if you help one person, you help a dynasty. I know that. I say that all the time. But how can we bring out the humanity?
Well, it's such a huge question, and yet sometimes I find the answer is simple. It's when I start with being more in acceptance of the paradox. There's these paradoxes that, in some ways this has been a very, like you were saying, it's a very fruitful time for a lot of people. And in some ways it's hell on earth for a lot of people. Both of those things are true at the same time. And I think one of the things I learned from like my characters, even like Bella was like, oh my God, I feel so guilty. I don't know what to do. Like I'm, what, I have all this privilege and and I was like, okay, first of all, you're human. So you're going to have a whole mixture of feelings. Let's stop with this binary, I'm happy or I'm sad or I'm only allowed to have one experience at one time. The most effective that we can be is to allow ourselves to have all of our experiences at the same time. I am joyful. I am devastated. I have grief about the racism of 400 years that we're all talking about now. I'm holding all of those experiences at the same time, kind of like having a million people in my head. I've learned to do my activism, make sure that I'm donating to the right causes, learning as much news as I can.
Okay, I would like to know about your activism.
Yeah.
I would like to know talk about your activism, because I think the magnitude of problems and issues is so large that it's very difficult. So give us example of what you do, of the things you do for activism and philanthropy. And actually, the smaller example, the better.
Yeah, so one small thing, this is going to sound so out of left field. Our post office, the United States Post Office, was taken over by a Trump supporter. And this guy is destroying the post office. He's telling they're giving them rules that they have to slow down the delivery of mail. They are delaying mail, knowing that that will help to destroy this very important institution that helps people vote in a pandemic. And guess what? When less people vote, Trump has a better chance, and they know that. So little things like that, paying attention to calling your senators. I'm not saying it's free. You have to have a cell phone, but you don't have to give money. You can make phone calls all day to your representatives to say, I see these things happening as your constituent. I need you to do something about this. People think petitions don't work, but they do. People think supporting your post office doesn't work, but it does. So it can be something tiny like that. You don't have to be rich to give. It's staying informed, telling all your friends, post about it, and help it get into the conversation so that everyone knows, because the news isn't reporting this right now. And we are really gonna feel this in November, the voting.
So you really feel that one of the first things that we have to do right now is actually make sure that we vote. I just signed my absentee ballot. I just did it a minute ago. So we should, right now, if you have to say one thing to everybody, you will say, make sure you vote.
Yes, I would say make sure you vote. And Diane, not to freak you out, but what just happened is people's absentee ballots were disqualified because they were saying that the post office did not postmark them in time, and so they're disqualified. So really look into this. You have a lot of powerful friends.
Oh my God.
Story. It's not getting a lot of coverage in our media right now, and I think it will. I don't want this to be one of those stories where they say, if only we had known before. We know this.
I can't believe that. I just signed this.
Look it up.
You mean that I just signed an absentee ballot application and that actually it's not going to be valid?
It may not. 79,000 people, and I'm not talking about in the South. This is Montclair, New Jersey. This is, areas right near New York City or wherever, and especially where Democrats vote. I'm sorry to be so direct about it, but wherever they can suppress the vote, slow down the mail, say that the postmarks didn't happen in time and so they're disqualified, they are doing that. So this is a very sneaky way of going around the inevitable loss. We know that Trump could not win legitimately now, the whole country, even people who voted for him last time. So this is a very big tactic that they're using, and I want people to be aware of it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So the first thing we should do is make sure that we can vote.
Yes.
What else? What else can we do? The lines for food, the people with no jobs.
Yes.
What, how can,
Yeah.
how can
Right.
you?
Right. It's such a huge question, right? It's like, so I have a two-part answer. Some of it is going to sound a little tricky, so I'll let somebody I know talk about it.
Yeah, what's good, Diane? You know what I'm saying? My name is Rashid. You know me because we did a little movie thing together. We did a little that little short film for the CFDA Awards. That was dope. As a black male, I don't always get to, you know what I'm saying? I don't wear the wrap dress. Not that anybody in the gender binary, whatever, they can wear whatever they want. I respect that. I don't personally rock the wrap dress. But I'm here to tell you, Sarah Jones, when it comes to how big these problems is, when we as black people, I speak as a black male, I know my ancestors didn't live to see, or you talking to Sarah Jones right now on the Zoom, enslaved Africans could not imagine that. They just had to fight for their freedom then, and then, just let go of the results, because we ain't gonna know the results. So everybody gotta remember, do the activism now. We might not see it in our lifetime. Don't let that depress you. You gotta do your part, and don't worry about, is it gonna fix it overnight? It ain't gonna be overnight. We didn't get here overnight. It's not gonna get fixed overnight.
So I wanted to let Rashid say that. And then the other practical thing that we can do is, this sounds so counterintuitive. It's like, I need to be in the streets. I need to be, giving all my money. Yes, and take care of ourselves. This,
Yes.
we all have COVID brain right now. Our brains don't know what to do because we've never been in a situation like this, and we're exhausted and grieving and not acknowledging it a lot of the time. So be gentle, be extra, extra careful with your energy, who you surround yourself with. In my case, plants. That's what I have, is my plants and my people. But like, I'm serious. Even when I do my Zoom dates, anybody who's draining, I don't let them into my world anymore. Like, we have to do radical self-care, radical self-love. Put on your lipstick, put on, you know, whatever makes you feel good and is soothing and nurturing to you. Really do those practices more often. And also, believe it or not, gratitude. When I focus on, you said, I have a garden. I do have a garden like you. So when I focus on, thank you, universe, that I have this, it makes it less likely that I will get depressed and not be able to go volunteer at a homeless shelter, for example. So it goes together. It all goes together. Yeah.
And it's really about paying attention. When you pay attention to details, and when you pay attention to people's feelings, all of a sudden, you get a lot richer, and you discover a universe.
Yes. And you know, it's so funny you say that, because for me, that universe is within, right? Like, I come from a multicultural family. I have a mother with white skin privilege, a father who's Black. I watched, you know, these dynamics since I was a baby. So this is not new to me. This revolution is not new to me. But I want to bring a little friend. She's not little. Hi, Diane. I'm sorry. It's Nereida. I have seen you before because I got to be at the DVF Awards, and I was so excited then, and I'm very excited now. But I just want to say, as a Latinx woman, you know, we have such an opportunity right now to use our power, like you said, as individuals. And I think about things like at the border, you know, there are people like me, my same heritage, in cages. They are children. The way we treat people, you would think it's so, you know, it's so overwhelming that we cannot do anything. But that's the worst thing we can do, is to let ourselves be so overwhelmed that we cannot be effective, to make sure that we are keeping our voices very loud. So one thing I wanted to say that Sarah Jones didn't say, join with communities, join with other groups. There are so many groups that you can join for free. Where are the people who care? Families Belong Together is an organization that if you care about the children at the border, if you have the money, you can give to them. If you don't have the money, you can go to protests when you can. You can write letters. You can do a lot, no matter where you are. Don't try to do it alone. That's what I wanted to say. Tenemos que estar juntos. We have to be together to make sure that we fight, because when you are on your own, you are more vulnerable to how big it all is.
Somebody very wise told me this a few months ago. They said, when you build a community, you build power. Yes. When you lose the community, you lose power. And the community can be just you and me and somebody else. And if we pay attention to one another's feelings, and we don't small talk, but we speak with intimacy, we speak with our heart, with our inside, then we find the common grounds. And that's how you build community. The community is born out of common grounds, and the common grounds give you the power.
Yes, 100%. And I love that you said intimacy, right? There are so many people out
there. I
there.
love intimacy.
I love it too.
I load in small talk.
So do I.
I cannot do small talk, but I can be intimate with somebody in the elevator only because I paid attention to a detail, and automatically you're talking about something deep, you know?
Yes.
And so I think you're right when you were talking about this period of being alone, which, by the way, to be alone is not being lonely.
That's right. That's
okay?
right.
So, but this period of being alone actually gives you intimacy first with yourself. Yes. And you shouldn't be afraid of having intimacy for yourself. And the first thing because the most important relationship in life is the one you have with yourself. I mean, once you have that, any relationship is a plus and not a must.
Exactly. Oh, I love that. And you're reminding me, I once heard this expression, intimacy. It's not, just romantic or dating. It's into me, see. You see into me. It's like a little play on the words of like when we are authentic, when we can show up and be messy and say, you know what, I'm having a really hard time. I thought I was going to be late because my hair, when you're honest and you're transparent and you're vulnerable, it's stronger connection with other people. And it helps us, I think, to be honest, right? Part of what we haven't had in our culture is an honest conversation about the inequality, about, whether it's Me Too or, obviously the movement for civil rights and for, Black Lives Matter. These are conversations, they're connections, they are truth-telling. And we need that authenticity with ourselves first. If I don't know who I am, I can't be helpful to the movement. So we have to do both at the same time.
All right. So close your eyes. And we all have a magic wand. You know that. Yes. We all have a magic wand. And the more we use a magic wand, the more powerful a magic wand is. And the magic wand only works when you do good. So often the magic wand becomes a boomerang and comes back to you. Mm-hmm. But close your eyes and imagine that you have a magic wand. What is it that you, Sarah Jones, the comedian, the producer, the performer, with all of your talent, with your heart and all of that, close your eyes, and if you can use your magic wand, what is that you want to leave behind? How is it that you want to contribute to a better humanity?
Oh, the first image that came to my mind is, I thought love, and it sounds so simple, but forgiveness. If everyone who feels like they're bad or they're wrong or they're afraid, like that's where that comes from, right? When you see people who are like, all lives matter, no, police, no. There's fear. They have deep, deep wounds and fear left over from childhood. We don't know. Maybe they were abused. Maybe whatever their color. People go through very painful experiences in childhood. They don't heal, and then they feel bad. They say if you're treated badly, then you will believe you're bad. So people walk through the world believing they're bad and covering it over with ignorance, hatred. They project it onto others. If everyone could forgive themselves, including me, by the way. When I wake up, we did an interview one time, I think it was like your first Facebook Live, and you said, I wake up in the morning feeling like a loser. And I thought, if Diane can say that, that's saying, you know what, no matter how bad I feel, I'm willing to witness myself, love myself, forgive myself for whatever it is that I think is not okay about me. And if we all forgave ourselves, we would stop being terrible to other people in the world, including a certain person in charge. I believe this person is miserable against himself. I think he hates himself. And so he projects that hatred and paranoia and this kind of power gone awry all over. So that's what I would wish for everyone, to see themselves as lovable and forgivable. And
you think that, it's funny, I would never thought of that. You think that the first step of forgiveness is forgive yourself.
Yes. And the reason I said humor so strongly like that is we are so heavy. We are so, we're so bogged down and serious and self-pity, self-involved. A sense of humor. When I can wake up and be like, I'm a loser. And then I'm like, did you hear yourself? Are you really, like, you got all these, you have thousands of minutes in the day and you're going to sit here and be like, hey, my butt's too big. Come on. That's just not a good use of my time. So having a sense of humor and lightness is how we begin to take better care of ourselves. Most of us have a very self-judgmental, self-critical, punishing voice inside. So the more we can practice forgiveness, the more we can flourish the way you talk about. And then we build community, and then we build a more equitable world.
All right. So first thing you wake up is you say thank you, no matter what.
No matter what.
And after what, you say, I forgive. Maybe I don't forget.
Yes. You don't have to forget. You don't have to forget.